Just check your sound once you're on. I'll come give you a thumbs up here, but maybe turn the audio right up. Maybe on mute. Yeah. Yeah. Are you on live?
We'll find out in a second. Yeah, I think we are live. Hello, Sturt fans and Sturt members. Sorry about the little delay, but we're all good to go now. Just quickly, just a bit of a recap of 2024 season. We are probably a disappointing end to otherwise a pretty successful season in terms of finishing second on the ladder, having 13 wins in a row, but as we said before, disappointing in terms of losing both our finals and finished the season with 2 losses and straight out of finals, which was very disappointing from both my point of view as a coach, but also too as the playing group and where we sort of sit with our football program, I guess. And it was a disappointing end to the season, and the players. And I sat down with a review and sort of worked through some things and worked out that there's a lot of things we're doing really well. There's just a few things and a few areas where we can just get a little bit better at and improve a couple of different areas. And so, we sat down and went through those things. And, we'll work towards, I guess, improving in 2025. And that starts pretty soon in terms of pre-season starting in about sort of 5 or 6 weeks with the group. Just going to try and find... So, I'll just wait for a couple comments to come through. Probably a couple things to touch base on. To start with, probably some exciting news in terms of Mitch Croden, who's moving back to South Australia and has signed with the club, which is exciting for Mitch. Mitch got drafted. Mitch played with the club in sort of 16, 17, and then was drafted to Fremantle, was there for a few years, and then stayed in Perth with his partner, and they sort of stayed and settled in Perth, so they stayed there for a couple of years. He played Waffle for a couple of years, and now has decided that they're going to move back, and really excited to have Mitch back. I think he's going to add a bit of difference to our midfield. He's going to also add some really good left footer, and also had some, I guess, played a little bit of half forward and midfield over the last few years in Waffle and AFL. We're excited about what he can bring, I guess, to the group, and he's a left foot as well, so it'll be a little bit of change up for our group, and someone who's a really good Sturt man, I think, and it'd be good to get him back. We've got a first question, which will be. Clinton Mail, maybe a little bit too defensive and more attacking next season. That's an interesting question, and something that we talk a lot about at the footy club. And I think this year we were able to improve our offence. A little bit. I think it was somewhere around the 7 points per game we improved. We also improved our defence a little bit as well, which is a pleasing thing. We're able to improve offence and improve defence. So it's definitely something we got to find the balance. We were really good for most of the season, and we just got to find that balance and keep working on. I think the offence side of our game. I think our defence is really solid and something we've been really good at over the period of time that I've been coaching here. And we're always working on our offence, and something we do really need to improve. Mark Timmins talking about Chad Wingard, I'm guessing there, about AFL Wingard come home. Not really sure. I believe that Chad is going to stay in Melbourne, and he's had a fair few injuries the last couple of years, and not someone that we've spoken to, but something that I guess we'd wait and see what he was doing, but I think he's going to stay in Melbourne and be involved or something in there. So, Ian Mills, are we looking at recruiting quality key forward this off-season? Initially, Ian, I guess our first, in terms of the recruiting, we have this conversation every year, but the main, I guess, 3 areas of I guess the way we improve our list is from our under 18s coming up, and we've got a really good group of under 18 kids coming up. If they don't get drafted, will come into the senior program. Our next, I guess, one of the other parts of that and equal is retaining everyone that we've currently got on our list. That's probably a big one. That's probably the key area of our, I guess, list management is retaining everyone that we've got, and we really like our list at the moment and what we've been able to do over the last few years and build that list, and we just keep adding little pieces to that. And I guess the other part of that is then is just internal development of players and organic growth of the players in our playing group, and which we're able to get this year in terms of some really good players who've played a little bit of reserves footy over the last few years and then come in and play some really good league footy and become consistent league footies. And for that example would be Zach Becker, Angus Anderson, Luke Giacometti. But as I said, also too, we're able to get some top end talent in terms of Will Snelling, Flynn Perez, and Sam Conforti, who I thought had a really good season. Sam coming to the club from I guess the Bendigo League, but also Essendon VFL, and had a really huge impact on the group, and not only offensively with his goal kicking and his ball use, but I thought defensively and playing his role each week was really important as well. So that's sort of the areas that we looked at. But in terms of, I guess, quality key forwards, we believe that we've got some really good quality key forwards at the footy club in terms of Burrows, Grivell and McFadgen. And then we've also got Josh Hone, Jenny Matthews, Sam Conforti, this group. We've also got a young lad by the name of Sam Waltham, who's hopefully, is still looking at the draft. But if he doesn't get drafted, then we will look at him, pushing for senior footy as well. And there was a young lad from the under 18s who was at the state combine on the weekend by the name of Jacob Mollier, who tested really well and is 201 centimetre, I guess, forward ruck, been playing in under 18s. He's had a little bit of interest from AFL clubs, and again, we'd love him to his name to be called out in late November in the draft. But again, if it's one of those ones that doesn't happen or doesn't occur, we would love to see Jacob, I guess, pushing for selection of the senior group and then playing senior footy as well. Michael Milbank, are we looking at getting a key goal kicker? As I said before, we feel like we've got a really good key forward line. Grivell was really, I guess, missed a lot of the start of the season, but when he did come in, he played really well. He really helped us in terms of our goal kicking as well. And also too, I think that we've got Lachlan Burrows. I thought had a bit of a quieter year and probably less than what he was before. I thought Josh Hone was pretty good, but I think Connor had a really good year in terms of goal kicking. We had a pretty even spread of our group in terms of being able to do that. So it's a really hard one out there. There's not many, I guess, key position forwards out there. So it is really tough to I guess recruit those types of players. Probably the other one that we haven't mentioned yet, but someone who played one game last year in the reserves and someone we're really excited about his future, and that's Morgan Ferris. Morgan comes to us from, went to Queensland for a few years for study, played a little bit of, VFL with the Gold Coast Suns and Bond University, and he came back to us last year and played one game but hurt his shoulder in the first game of the year. So we were really happy with his pre-season, and I guess really excited about what he can bring to the group as well. He's a young lad who I think can provide some of that offence and that goal kicking, and also get up the ground and play a bit higher through the midfield, and even maybe play a little bit of wing as well, but something we'll discuss and we'll have a look at over the pre-season. Any chance of Excos? I think it's Will Hamill. I guess at the moment is we're pretty much looking at, I guess, replacing a couple of the players that have left the club in terms of Stephen Slimming, I guess, is the key one, that sort of wingman type, and that's probably something we're going to target. We're going to target really hard, and as I said before, retention of our playing list is really important, and I think with that means that if we can retain the majority of our list, then we're not going to be really going out and recruiting too many players, and I think that's the key part of this, is that we're not going out and recruiting lots and lots of players with the philosophy we have about our junior program and the way we develop our players. And we've seen that over the last few years in terms of our ability to develop players, and our reserves, I guess, have been part of that development program. In the reserves have played 4, I think it is, of the last 5 grand finals and won 1. So, and the seniors are playing consistently, playing finals footy as well, which is a pleasing thing about the club. So it's definitely something we're looking at. But as I said, we're not going to be going out and recruiting a lot of players. And probably at the moment in that half-back space, we've got a lot of players that we believe can play that role and have played senior footy. For example, Ned Walter, Charlie Fryer, Willa Taylor hasn't played yet, but I think he's someone who could also be really important in terms of filling that void of the Guy Page role, I guess, that came about with his retirement. So there's definitely players rolling around in the reserves. Alex Holt as well. Nick Sadler's played a little bit of halfback. We've got a really good group of players in the reserves that we think they need opportunity and they need to be exposed at league level to see what we can do there. So next question. We've got Clint Mail again. Brad Jeffries is an inside or outside mid. Does he have good speed? Brad is a very good player. Had a few injuries, or had an injury last year that really, I guess, affected his season in terms of middle of the season. Brad's been playing predominantly as an inside mid, but also too, he's been working on his outside game and something that he can bring to the group. Brad's probably ideal position, as I said, is inside mid. He brings really good, I guess, stoppage craft, but also too, as I said, has been going forward and playing a bit more of an outside role. Hits the scoreboard in the reserves pretty consistently. Had a great season last year in winning the reserves, I guess, McGarry medal. And someone we would love to see, play league footy next year and be exposed to that a bit more as well. Michael, Peter Young, Marty, any players being looked at by Adelaide and Sturt Port to sign? As I said, we're always looking at players coming off AFL lists. We're always looking at, I guess, making our list better. It's also, again, there's a two-way street there. It talks about that player wanting to come to Sturt or staying in South Australia and wanting to play senior force footy as well. But we do speak to a reasonable number of players in terms of what their plans are for season 2025, and we work through that, and then we work out what's the best fit for the group and the list and the club as well. So, yeah, we're definitely speaking to a lot of players, and we are looking at certain players, not only from Adelaide and Port, but other AFL clubs as well. Michael Koleski, have you had thoughts of playing Zach Burke as a forward? I have, and it's something we have discussed, but I don't think that's going to happen because he's been playing so well as a key backman, and it's definitely something that he's really improved this year, Zach, and wants to keep working on, and that's his defensive craft. And I thought he had a great season. He really developed this year in terms of every facet of his game. He got stronger, he got fitter. His ball use has been really good across half back, and I think he just has a great season. We'd love to see him play a bit more down there and get better again. What else we got here? So we got Michael Milbank. Yes, you're talking about Ned Henry. Yeah, definitely someone that we coming up on an AFL list that there's discussions going on all the time. Chadwick M. Manolakis. Hey Marty, keen to hear your thoughts on which players are in with a chance to play wing now with Slimo's retired. Charlie Parker. Yeah, definitely Charlie Parker. I guess along with Nick Sadler and Alex Holt, who've been exposed to those couple roles as well. It's definitely the internal competition for spots at the moment is pretty hot, especially with some of the players that had really good seasons in our reserves, and that's why we're always, giving chances to our younger players to expose them to senior footy. It's worked really well for us in the past, and it's something that we'll just keep doing and keep providing opportunity. I mean, Lucas Slade had a really good pre-season last year and had an injury mid-season, but started playing some really good footy at the end of the year as well. So there's definitely a lot of players in the reserves and coming through the program that that would be a really good fit to, I guess, fit that slimming role that's been vacated by Slim retiring. Has the club looked at ways of getting Sam Day, Tex Wanganeen, Josh Shackey to the club? As I said before, we are always looking at players coming off AFL lists. I know Sam Day's still getting probably a bit of interest from a few AFL clubs in terms of his ability to still play. And that's the thing about these players, is they're still waiting, I guess, to the draft, the supplementary lists. All these players coming off AFL lists are still, I guess, holding dreams of still being able to play AFL. And so with the draft not until November 25th, it's a really hard position for the club to be in terms of waiting for players that long to be available, I guess, to play or come to the club. And it's a really hard balancing act for us, because we want to try and sign players as soon as we can. But we also want to make sure we get the right players and chat to as many players as we can that we feel like can improve the list and improve the club. Robert Hilson, sorry. Good question. Outside page slimming and puncher, Robert. Is there any others moving on? At this stage, no. We've started signing and speaking to a lot of players about signing them on for 2025, which is a positive thing. And Chris Trapp's working towards, as I said, retention of our current group and our current playing group. And we're really excited about, I guess, the group that we've got, and we're hopefully we can keep and retain a lot of the players that we've got. As always, there's a few players that are weighing up their footy future, whether that's here at Sturt or somewhere else. But we believe that we've got a pretty good program, a pretty good structure and culture at the footy club that we can retain, the majority of our players, and hopefully we can keep them here and keep them exposing them to the opportunity to play senior footy at Sturt Footy Club, and that's our main goal and something we'll work towards. But at the moment, no one else is, I guess league and reserves teams from last year that's there's not going to hang around next year at the moment. So we're still working towards signing a lot of more players that are currently on the list. Probably just update you on a few other players who have had some really good seasons in the reserves. I thought Hugo Kittle had a really good season. He got a little bit of exposure with a game mid-season. I thought he was really good in that game, and I think with Amos and Dan, the way they've been playing, I think the progression of Hugo is really important for the club and keep developing as a ruck and also as a forward as well, and that's the area we'll keep working with him. His ruck craft is really good. We should keep working on his forward craft as well. Probably the other two are like Will Spain. I thought Will had a really good start to the season, started the season in the league team, and had an injury and went out and had a really good, I guess, some good games towards the end of the season as well, but hurt himself in the grand final. But he's looking really good at the moment and should be back to start a pre-season, have a really good pre-season as well. I thought Kobe McEntee was really good, had a really good season as well. Got injured mid-year as well, which was a bit disappointing for Kobe, but he's provided some really good forward pressure and some really good forward craft as well to the group, and some speed in forward half, which is really important as well. I think with his development over the next 12 months or even this 6 months pre-season period, he's a really good chance to have a really good crack at league footy and hopefully play some games next year as well. And then I guess there's the others of, the Brad Jeffries and the Charlie Molins and the Sam Brewers and Nick Sadlers and Holtz and these guys through our midfield, and Charlie Parker, I think, as well, that had really good seasons as well, pretty consistent as well. So there's that area of the game as well that we can keep developing and keep adding to it. Paul Johnson, has a decision been made yet about the outside fencing? Not to my knowledge, but I believe it's moved and progressed to the next stage, which is exciting for the club, and we'll have to wait and see about when the next, I guess, stage or the next progression of talks happens and when that happens. But yeah, it's moving in a positive direction, I believe, for the club, and something that we'll keep working towards and keep moving the club and moving in the direction of trying to have that happen. So yeah, we'll keep working towards that. Robert Hilson, does Nick Sadler take a role from Slimming's departure? Yeah, he's probably one of the many few I mentioned before. Holt, Slimming, Sadler, all these players that have played some really good footy in the reserves. I think they're the few guys who can really, I guess, cover that Stephen Slimming role that he's retired. And we just, again, the young guys coming through the reserves, we've got to give them opportunity and got to give them. League G committee had a really good go at that. Role throughout the year as well, got exposed to that a little bit at stages throughout the season as well, so he's another one who could really play that role as well. Probably just on the two retirees, it's probably, it is Page and Slimming. Those two have been around for a long time and been big servants to the footy club and invested a lot in the footy club and make this place a great place to be and also a better place. And it's going to be sad to miss those two players, both on the field and off the field. I think they bring a lot off the field in terms of leadership and part of the leadership group and leadership amongst the group, but also too on the field. They've been really good players for this footy club and played here a long time. 150 games for Slim and over 200 for Page, and both premiership players and been around the club for a long time now. So it is going to be sad to see those guys play. Miss those guys play in. But yeah, we again, hopefully we can get some younger players come up and fill the void of those two players. Peter Young, interesting rumour. Voss being looked at by the Power. I'm not sure whether he means as drafted or you're talking about as a sample development player, but not to my knowledge. Had my exit meeting with Casey and he's pretty keen to stay around and continue playing at Sturt. So hopefully that's not the case. And again, rumours are always an interesting time of year with the rumours going around at the moment. But hopefully Casey stays and we'd love to see him at the footy club and keep playing because he's been a very good player for us over the last 5 or 6 years since he's been playing senior footy. Robert Hilson, in reviewing our finals campaign, did our level of fitness come into question? No, I don't believe so. I don't think fitness had anything to do with the two finals losses. I think it had more to do with our execution in the finals, in the final, quarters as well. But also probably the first halves we weren't quite at the level that we needed to be or execute the way we wanted to, and probably in both games probably should have been further ahead or more in a position, more dominant position of the games, both from a goal kicking point of view, but also just controlling the tempo of the game and finishing off the opportunities we had to score. And I think those two things come into it, which probably, yes, has a little bit to do with if you're not, kicking goals, if you're giving the ball back to the opposition, from kicking points, you do have to defend a bit more, but I don't think fitness had anything to do with that, because I felt like that our last 4 weeks of the year were really good and we were able to finish off games really well, and I don't think there was any stages throughout the season where we fell away from games or had poor last quarters other than the two finals, which I think had nothing to do with fitness. So definitely something we can still keep improving is our fitness, but I don't think that had anything to do with the finals losses. Adrian Teese, can we get Lockie back to 2023 form and play him as a full forward? Lockie did play most of the year as a full forward, and as a forward second ruck, which he's done in the past as well. We'd love to get Lockie back to his 2023 form. He had a great season and something definitely that we would love Lockie to be doing and being able to play. And I think he had 37 goals in 2023 and didn't quite have the impact he did this year. But we'd love to get him back, and that's part of the reason why I think that we're not actively going out and focusing on any, key forwards for our club, because we've got Lockie, who we think if we can get back to 2023 form will be a really important player for us and help the others around the group as well in terms of Connor McFadden and Josh Hone and these guys. Really have an impact, and I think if we can try and do that, can have a good pre-season and get back to his form, then he can be a really important player for us as well. Another question now, John Bages, I think it's how you say it. Get someone that can kick goals without thinking about it. old joy of, sorry about that, the old joys of goal kicking. Yeah, I mean, we work on goal kicking all the time, something that's not just, and come finals we work on. We've been working on it all year. We've got our forwards coach, John Corbett's been working with the players all year, and it's definitely something we need to keep improving on. And I think there's two or three different components to the goal kicking side of things. It's about where you have your shots, and also then about executing when you do have those shots. So I think they're both hand in hand with each other. I think the better shots we can get, then the better goal kicking efficiency we will have. So it's a little bit about the way we maybe move the ball, the way we enter inside forward 50. All these factors come into it, and it's something that we will keep developing, keep working on, and keep exposing our group to. And I think they're sort of a bit both hand in hand. If we can improve our forward entries and our offense a little bit more again, then we can improve those things. But also too, we probably this year had a few games where we didn't quite, we had a lot of balls kicked to the goal line when we probably should have kicked it to a bit more top of the square type scenario that they were then punched through and they were rushed behinds, which again doesn't help your goal kicking efficiency and those sorts of things. So it's definitely something that we've worked on, we'll keep working on, and I think every club in the AFL and everywhere playing football is trying to work on is their goal kicking and forward efficiency and offence as well. So we'll just keep working on that. Is there Riley Nisbet? Is there any chance of seeing how Snelling goes up forward now we have Croden back? I definitely think that this is something that we need to, have a conversation about with our group now with Mitch back. Is that we can't have all four playing in the midfield, so there's definitely going to have some other roles, for players to play. And half forward is one of those things that we've discussed and looked at in terms of a few players being exposed to that. But I think it's going to be a lot of different players playing, maybe a forward role who would normally play midfield and then getting exposed in the midfield as well. So it's definitely something we've looked at, discussed, and we'll look forward to in 2025 of other players playing, different roles or more forward roles as well as midfield as well. James Bergenberg, what's the situation with Chad Reschke? So Chad had an injury, later in the year last year, a hamstring, which sort of ruled him out for the rest of the season. Chad is, a young lad who's doing a bricklaying apprenticeship. He has continued that, but he's continued that, down at Road in Kingston. So he went down there and has been down there doing his apprenticeship as well as down there. So and moved down there. So wasn't able to train with us in the latter part of the year, and someone we'd love to get back to the club and be involved in 2025. So we'll work with Chad and we'll speak with him now between now and Christmas and see what he's up to in terms of if he's going to be moving back to Adelaide or staying down there. But hopefully he moves back to Adelaide and he's involved in Sturt next year, because he's another one who had some really good footy in 2023 and got exposed at senior level, and is a really good forward and a really good goal kicker as well, and someone I think can help us get better and improve moving forward. What else have I got here? I have a couple of questions predetermined, How has the competition changed since I first started coaching? I definitely think the competition has got a lot more even, in terms of, the top teams and the bottom teams. I think this year, even though there were a couple, blowout wins, I think the competition showed this year that if any team are playing well on their day, they can really, really push the top teams. And that's probably something I think that's always, that's improved as well. I think that also too, the game has just changed. The game's changed and evolved in the 8 or 9 years that I've been coaching, and which is always the way in footy. And we've just got to keep, either keep moving with it and keep finding new ways of our playing group improving and getting better. And we've got to work really hard in terms of trying to get ahead of the curve, but also stay strong to our brand of footy that we want to play, and also just improving in areas that we need to keep improving in there. And I think our brand of footy is quite strong. We need to keep building that and making sure that's something that our supporters and our members and that can see each week, and the way we play and the way we go about our footy is relevant over the whole competition, but also to our juniors as well. We want our juniors to be able to play the same way, and that Sturt brand of footy is exposed through our whole club, and something we believe is we were able to execute right now amongst the club, and something we want to keep building on. But as I said, we're always finding little ways to improve, and I guess those little improvements come from offence, goal kicking, also to our list. Improving our list and our players is a really important part of it as well. So, yeah, really looking forward to 2025 and what it can bring, and a really good pre-season. And it was a disappointing season, and to end that way was not the way we wanted to end. But yeah, we're looking forward to pre-season starting. So pre-season will start late November 25th. The players will train for a couple of weeks before Christmas. And then over Christmas, I guess the break over Christmas, and then we'll return early January for the 2025 season. So probably just, I guess, in terms of other recruits, I guess so we're always, I guess, speaking to Sturt juniors who have always been on AFL, or were on AFL lists or been at AFL clubs, and have now been delisted or coming off those. So, as someone said before, the Tex Wanganines, the Sam Days, the Chad Wingards. So those players are always, I guess, on our radar and our discussion, on our discussion list and our recruiting list, and we speak to those players, and we find out what they're doing. Again, a lot of these players coming off these lists, they might have something. They might be in Melbourne, they might be somewhere else in Queensland. They've got their life set up, they've got families, all these sorts of things. So it is not as easy as just ringing the player and saying, "Are you playing? Do you want to play at Sturt?" Sometimes there's other factors that come into these things as well. So it is really, really tough as well. And as I said before, we're not actively going out and recruiting, lots of players to the footy club. We are really just focusing on a couple of key players and a couple of key areas of the list and the group that we feel like we need to improve. The other part of that is also two players, I guess, that have been at the club and moved on, and that are then maybe a chance to return to Adelaide or being interstate, whatever. So, for example, the Mitch Crotons. The other one that we've had conversations with is Marty Frederick, which is exciting. Hopefully, that's progressing well, and hopefully that we can get Marty back to the club. He's going through the process of I think finishing up in Western Australia and moving back to Adelaide. So we're just working through that with Marty now, and we're excited about, I guess, if we can get him back to the club, he'd be a really good fit for the group and really exciting as well. So as I said, we're always looking at different players from different leagues and competitions about getting them, but also too, our main focus is retention of players as well. Tim Cloud. So what's the story of Daniel Scholl? This is a really tough, a tough one for Daniel. He's missed the last 2 years through injury. Had some little setbacks along the way in terms of returning from his knee surgery that he had, a long time ago now. But he's in a really positive mindset about trying to get back to play, which is exciting, and something that the group are really looking forward to him, being able to get back to fully training and playing. So we're really excited about what he can do and bring. It's a really long process and something we will take our time with. But he's very close at the moment. He's got back to basically to the point where now he can start pre-season pretty much where everyone else is at. So he'll be basically running, training, hopefully maybe it's a little bit modified in a couple of the contested or the game sim type things, but to the point where hopefully he can be back fully next year in 2025 and fully training for most of pre-season, which is exciting for Daniel because he's had a lot of time rehabbing by himself and training by himself, and it's been a tough road. And really excited about him where he sits at the moment, because it's getting really close to him getting back, which is really exciting for him, the club, the group, because we'd love to have him back playing, and he's a really great person, great player, and we'd love to see him back. Clinton Mail, Jared Lena, where is he at the moment? Jared is at North Melbourne at the moment, a development coach and playing in their VFL side. I believe he's been offered or just signed on for next year, and really excited for Jared in terms of his, I guess, progression in his footy journey. I guess that transition out of playing to coaching. He's been able to, I guess, be in the best of both worlds the last year, and hopefully next year, where he can play VFL and be a coach, a development coach at North Melbourne, and he's working there. So yeah, really excited about what Jared, I guess, is doing with his career, and hopefully at some stage, whether it's a player or the coach, we'd love to have him back at Sturt. But at the moment, he's in Melbourne and enjoying that and going really well there. So I don't think I missed any messages, but let me have a look just quickly. I'll just. Probably just one little thing I think is this year will be really exciting pre-season. This will be the sort of the first pre-season where we've been able to use the new facilities at Sturt and the Oval as well. So this is sort of the first pre-season where there's been no construction going on at Unley Oval and Unley in the precinct and the change rooms and facilities as well. Hopefully there's some progression at our training venue, Urbray. We're working with the SANFL and the school and the club are working towards improving that facility, which we've slowly been doing over the last few years as a training facility for both our men, women's and juniors programs. So we're working towards that as well, which is really exciting to give us another venue that our juniors and women's and men can train at in pre-season and in-season. Things like that will be, hopefully lights, change rooms and some other bits and pieces moving forward. But yeah, that's in a state where we're really excited about that progression. As I said, really excited about Unley Oval now with the new surface, which means that we hopefully will be able to train here once the season starts, which we were affected to by last year in terms of the start of the season. The Oval's in great condition at the moment. It's been all year. We've got the facilities here now, which we love using, and we'd love to stay and be able to use them whenever we need to, whenever we want to. So, we're really looking forward to that. And this will be, as I said, the exciting pre-season where we're able to use these facilities both here at Unley and at Urbray and Cornerstone, our venues that we train at, that we can, use these venues and use these facilities and not have any restrictions on these, when we can use them and how we use them. So that'll be exciting for the playing group and the staff and our program as well. So yeah, really excited about what that can bring. Question just popped up. Lincoln Mordesai. Really glad that you have at the club for 2025. Did any AFL offers cross your path to tempt you away? Lincoln, no, nothing from the AFL. I probably will say too, I wasn't really looking in that space. I was really keen to stay at Sturt, and I chatted to the club, had sort of open discussions and dialogue with them throughout the season, and sort of voiced to them and let them know that I was really keen to stay and sort of I guess stick with this process and the program and the playing group that when I got back in 2021, that I really wanted to stick with and really push for another premiership at the footy club, and that was something I was really excited about and wanted to do. And as I said, open dialogue with the footy club, and we were able to execute that, and then get an extra 2 years at the footy club. I was really excited about, and as I said, working with this group, I'm really excited about what we can do and where we can go. And the club were along the same lines of they were excited to. For me to do that as well, and we were able to come to agreement on that. And like I said, really excited about 2025 and 2026, and what's going on there. So, but as I said, I didn't really, I guess, throw my name out there in terms of AFL, and as I said, I was really keen to stay here with my family at the moment where we sit in terms of our kids in school and sport, stuff like that. So it was never really crossed my mind to even have that discussion. Robert Hilson, has the 2025 assistant coaches been appointed yet? As always, we want to retain, I guess, the couple coaches or the assistant coaches we do. But one of our assistants has decided to step away with, I guess, family and other things going on in their lives, and that's Ben Warren. So Ben's decided not to continue at Sturt, which is disappointing. He's been a great asset for the footy club. He's been really important for, I guess, my coaching and my development as well, and helping us out as well in the coaching group. His experience has been really valuable for the group and the coaches. So, we're disappointed that Ben has decided not to continue, but that also means that we can find and look at someone else, and we're going through that process now, I guess, of speaking to some coaches and coaches from other clubs and coaches out there, and trying to fill that void as well. But the other three, in terms of John Corbett, who's our forwards coach, Fraser Evans, who's the defensive coach, and Scott Titterman, who does our leadership and a little bit, I guess, of opposition and rucks and stuff like that. He does a bit of a multi-pronged role. He's all those three are staying on, which is really pleasing and really exciting about those guys staying on at the footy club. Clinton Mail again. How would you fit Faye, Sparks, Doyle and Burrows in the team together? Which we had, I guess, earlier in the season, which is we had all three playing earlier in the season, and I guess that did allow Lachlan to play, or Burrows to play as a permanent forward, which is probably where we see him playing his best footy. And it's something that we probably didn't get exposed to enough as we would have liked to really get a good snapshot of that. And later in the year, we probably went down a different path in terms of just the two tools in the forward line with Connor and a couple other smalls or mediums. So it's definitely something we looked at, something we'll continue to work at, and something we will hopefully try and get more exposure of those three playing together, because I think that is a really good opportunity for us in terms of our tools, and it just means that hopefully Burrows can play more as a permanent forward and get exposed, or expose the opposition defenders with that height down there as well. So Dan Capone, have we spoken with, as I said before, with Chad Wingard? We actually haven't spoken with Chad directly right now. As I said, our main focus is just trying to retain our current playing group that we've got. But it's definitely something that has crossed his name's come up, and it's on our list, and it's something that we will work through. As I said, the balancing act of trying to retain our current players that we've got, but also too these players coming AFL lists, and looking at the draft and supplementary lists, which the draft is in late November, but also these supplementary lists and train-ons and all this sort of stuff can really go through till February, and it's a really tough position or situation to be in for the club. To try and wait that long is really hard when we're trying to, I guess, retain players, but also sign players and have them locked in for 2025 before we start pre-season. So it is a really hard one. Probably, I'm just trying to think. I don't think I missed any questions. No, I don't think I missed any. And probably I know we've got a little bit of time to go, but I think not really much, no more questions coming through. So if anyone does have a question, please put it up there. I'll just finish with, the last little bit that I'll talk about until we get a question is our coaching group at the moment. As I said, Chris Trapp coaching the reserves, and our junior program in terms of Scott Preble in the 18s and Greg Croden in the 16s is really important, I guess, part of, our program at the club, and both from a development point of view when the players get into the senior program, but also providing us with players coming through from juniors to seniors. And it's a really, vital part of our list management, and it's something that we hold as really important in the club, and probably something that we really focus on in terms of. So last year we had, I think it was 12 players come up from our under 18s to our senior program. This year somewhere in the similar vicinity of sort of 12 to 15, depending on AFL draft, if we do get any of these players drafted. So it's something that, the last 2 years, that'll probably be around the 20 to 24 players who'll be on our senior list who've come from our 18s. We've had a large number of players in the past coming from our under-18s program, coming up and playing senior footy, and now have been very good league footballers. And for example, that is Burrows. Josh Holmes has been at the footy club, but over the last few years that I've been here, coming up from our 18s has been Burrows. You've also got Voss, Slimming, Lewis, Doyle, Coombs, Illman, Edmonds. You've also got there's Grivell, Kittle, Sadler, Holt, Spain, McEntee, Willa Taylor, Charlie Fry, Zach Becker. All these kids now have come up and played senior footy, and a lot of them have played league footy and now become regular league footballers, and that's been a real key component of the club, and something that we will keep working towards is providing opportunity for our under-18 kids coming out of juniors if they don't get drafted to play league footy at the footy club. But it's also a really vital part of our makeup of our league side. We've got a lot of players who've come for our juniors. Danfo Sparks is another one, but we've got a lot of players who, really excited about them being part of the group and then they're part of the next premiership group. And we're working towards that. Brett Jeffries as well. Charlie Parker came to the club not through our juniors but through the club as well. So we're really excited, and that's a vital part of our not recruiting but our list management, I guess you would say. And in terms of recruiting, there's sort of the two ways we go about that, and that's the top end talents, the Will Snellings, the Conor McFadgens, Marty Frederick in the past, those types of players. And then there's also the other players that we sort of get to the club that we want to develop, and for example, the Angus Andersons, the Charlie Molins, Liam Punches. I know Liam's gone to the Eagles, which was disappointing, but we've been able to develop these players and we can provide them opportunity of playing senior footy or league footy at the footy club, and that's sort of part of why we do what we do, and our development program at the footy club I think is really good. Paul Johnson, not really a question, but I'd love to see another hill at Southern End with tennis court. I don't think that's happening, Paul. I think the tennis court and the bowling greens down there are, again, I guess community facilities, and I don't think there'll ever be a hill down there. But it is nice to have that green space up on the northwestern corner of the oval, and it is great opportunity for people to just to sit on the hill and watch Stanford footy on the oval. And it's a nice venue to play at. It's a nice venue now with the surface and the facilities we've got. I think it is up there with the best in South Australia, and I'm not talking about just best in the SANFL, but in terms of it is up there with Karen Rolton and Adelaide Oval, and these facilities now with the surface we've got and the facilities we got. It is really, really exciting, and love the Unley Oval and love being there. Brad Carpenter, what did the end of the year review bring out? Positional deficiencies or other areas of improvement to go all the way in 2025? As I mentioned before, Brad, I think there was a few areas in terms of positional deficiencies. I don't think there's too much there, not big gaps. I think our forward line, yes. As I said before, there were some players I think that were down in form from 2023. Lachlan Burrows was one of those. Grivell didn't play much footy. I thought he had a really good season, but just didn't play as much as he would have liked. And our midfield was still quite good. I think our backline is very good. I think it was more improvements of, as I said before, about our offence, and we're always trying to improve our offence, and we're trying to improve our forward efficiency and our goal kicking. I think they're sort of the areas, or the three key areas of improvements that we need to get better at, and the personnel around that will improve as well. And as I said before, we got Morgan Ferris, who played half of reserve games last year, who I think can play league footy as well, and we were able to expose some other players throughout the season to league footy as well, and so we've got these players coming in and hopefully vying for spots, and that's what I think is where we're going to get improvement from, is the healthy competition amongst the group and the list for spots. Because in the end of the season, there were some players playing reserves who were, probably unlucky or timing or whatever it was that didn't get a go in the league throughout the year, or did but didn't get it towards the end of the season. So that's where we get our improvement from in 2025. Is that area as well as we're improving internal, I guess, contests and that organic growth amongst the group. As we saw, as I said, with a couple of players last year, I thought Zach Becker was probably the prime example of that in terms of had a really good pre-season, had a great season, really developed in terms of that back key defender role, and had a great season, finished the year really well, and something we would love to keep improving and keep getting better at. I'm just trying to can't see any questions. I think we're probably a couple of minutes away from finish, but I don't have much else to say, and I think there's no other questions at the moment, so I think we might end it there. But again, thank you to the people who watched and made comments. As I said, it was a disappointing end of the season, but looking forward to 2025. Really excited about, the group that we've got, getting some improvement amongst that group, and also then really looking forward to 2025. And as I said, disappointing, but we're working towards that, and again, retention of our playing group and the group we have, as well as adding some little key pieces with our under ratings coming up. We feel like we can do that and really push for, again, finals next year, and also to winning the next premiership for the footy club, and that's something that we're striving towards. So just on that, I would like to thank everyone for their questions and viewing, thank you very much, and I'll end it there.